Welcome to Quick Movie Recaps. Spoilers ahead. The movie begins in the near future, when an Air Force pilot named Cooper flies through the skies when his jet suddenly loses its power. But this was Cooper's dream, and he wakes up from this nightmare. He goes downstairs where his father-in-law made breakfast since his wife passed away. His daughter Murph shows up talking about a ghost in her room. Cooper asks Murph to prove her theory with scientific evidence. Later, Cooper takes them to school. This is when we see cornfields all over the farm. After a devastating blight, corn is the only crop farmers can grow because Earth's land is no longer fertile like before, leaving humanity on the brink of extinction. The next day, the family goes to watch a baseball match, and a massive sandstorm approaches the city. Coming back home, Murph realizes that the window of her room is open. She runs to close it. Cooper runs after her. But Cooper observes that settling dust made some patterns on the floor. Cooper decodes these patterns and finds binary codes which are actually coordinates. He decides to drive to these coordinates. When Murph asks to come along, he disagrees, but Murph hides in any way. Finally, they reach an unknown area. When Cooper exits the vehicle to cut down the fence, a searchlight turns on and someone electrifies him. When Cooper gains consciousness, Dr. Amelia Brand enters the room and introduces herself. Amelia takes Cooper to a conference room where Murph is sitting next to the same Professor Brand Cooper knew already. Cooper and Murph tell them that gravity led them here. Professor Brand tells them they are at NASA and shows Cooper a group of engineers working on a rocket ship. He tells him that society does not support funding for space missions due to famine. Therefore, they are working secretly. Professor Brand tells Cooper that the blight is consuming the oxygen on Earth, and Murph's generation would be the last to survive. He tells Cooper that NASA's Endurance project is the final addition to the Lazarus mission, which is Earth's last hope of finding a habitable planet. After some convincing, Cooper agrees to be a pilot for Project Endurance. In the conference room, Cooper gets briefed on the mission. NASA discovered a wormhole near Saturn through which they traveled to another galaxy. 10 years ago, NASA sent 12 astronauts to the 12 planets. 3 of them have sent confirmation transmission of their planet's suitability for life. They have 2 plans. Plan A is to use the entire facility as a spacecraft that will harness gravitational forces to propel itself. But Professor Brand has yet to solve the equation for its execution, whereas Plan B is to send thousands of fertilized eggs to start a colony on the new planet. With a determined look, Professor Brand assures Cooper that Plan A will be operational by the time he returns. His words reach Cooper's soul, and from then on, Cooper puts his complete faith in him. The launch day arrives, and Cooper tries to comfort Murph, but she explains that the message from the ghost is the word stay. Cooper doesn't listen and hugs her tightly as if it's the last time. He gives her a watch, telling her that time and space is slower than on Earth, and that they may be the same age when he returns. Outside, Cooper hugs his son, giving the truck and responsibilities to him. Murph runs to stop him, but she can't. Cooper, along with the crew and TARS, leaves their home planet. After docking with Endurance Space Station, the crew watches the messages of their loved ones and goes to hypersleep. After 1 year, the probe reaches the outskirts of Saturn. The crew wakes up and prepares to enter the wormhole. The ship enters the wormhole at insane speeds. During the travel, Amelia sees an arm in space, which she thinks is an evolved being trying to shake hands with her. They finally reach another galaxy. Dr. Miller's planet is near to Gargantua's black hole, but an hour there is 7 years on Earth. Everyone agrees to land on this planet while Romilly stays behind to collect the data required to solve Dr. Grand's gravity equation. They successfully land on this planet and try to find the wreckage of Dr. Miller's beacon. But suddenly, a huge water wave comes onto them. Cooper tries his best to save his crew, but the rough waves carry away Doyle while he is about to enter. Cooper becomes upset for being on the planet for almost an hour. Not only did they lose Doyle, but they also lost 7 years. Amelia believes that Dr. Miller landed on the planet hours ago due to the time difference, which is why the wreckage was somewhat intact. Cooper finally restarts the flooded engine, and they fly off safely. Back on the ship, a much older Romilly welcomes them. Romilly says they were gone for 23 years, making him believe they are not returning. Meanwhile, he collected the information from the black hole, but some was still missing, which will only be collected within the black hole. Cooper goes through over 23 years of video messages, seeing his timid young boy become a husband and a father. Tom tells Donald passed away, and he accepts that Cooper isn't coming back. The screen fades to black, fighting with her father. Professor Brand is surprised to see Murph sending her first message. They go to his office to work together on the still unsolved theory. Murph stares intently at the board, realizing that Professor Brand does not want to solve the equation. On the ship, there's a debate over visiting either Dr. Mann's or Dr. Edmund's planet. Amelia prefers Edmund's because it's farther from the black hole. Cooper disagrees, favoring Mann's planet since he's still communicating with them. On the other hand, Professor Brand is on his deathbed. Murph visits him, assuring she will complete the gravity equation. After hearing this, Professor Brand confesses that Project Endurance was never supposed to return. Cooper and his team arrive at Dr. Mann's planet. The crew wakes up Dr. Mann from hypersleep. Mann tells them that they are currently at a peak where there is no breathable air. However, the planet has a lower surface, where life can hopefully be cultivated. Amelia views Murph's video message, where she reveals the truth that her father left everyone to die, but Amelia swears she doesn't know anything. Mann opens up that Professor Brand solved the equation even before the astronauts left, but simply proving the theory isn't enough. He says that we need binary data from inside the black hole to put it into practical use. On Earth, Murph gets a gut feeling that the ghost in her room has something to do with her dad Cooper. On the alien planet, Romilly suggests throwing TARS in the black hole can collect information about what's inside. Dr. Mann takes Cooper to find potential areas for modules and attacks him. He confesses that he faked his data and that the planet isn't habitable. Mann breaks Cooper's helmet, letting him die. Cooper grabs his transmission device and shouts for Amelia. Case and Amelia fly towards Cooper and save him. When Romilly starts to look into the data of Dr. Mann's tactical robot, an explosion occurs. Amelia and Cooper rush towards the base. TARS confirms Romilly's death. Dr. Mann leaves the planet and tries to dock with the space station, but he fails and the airlock explodes. Cooper plans to use Gargantua as a giant slingshot to propel them to Edmund's planet and send TARS to the black hole. Amelia panics upon hearing Case starting to eject Cooper's section. Cooper detaches, sacrificing himself so Amelia can complete the Plan B. Darkness enveloped Cooper's ship. Flashes of light start to appear. Turbulence increases, and Cooper loses consciousness. Cooper wakes up in an endless room and grabs hold of one of the walls. Cooper calls out to the young Murph, but she doesn't hear him. He realizes that every wall is a different event in Murph's past. He sees his younger self planning to leave. He shouts at him to stay. Cooper realizes he can communicate through gravity using Morse code. Present Murph realizes that the ghost is her father. TARS survives and calls out to Cooper. He says they're in the dimension created by supernatural beings, where time is a physical plane. Cooper realizes that gravity can travel through time. He can send a message to Murph. Present Murph realizes the same thing. Cooper uses the watch to inform Murph about the quantum data she can use to make Plan A work. Murph grabs the watch and sees the second's arm ticking in Morse code. In Brand's office, she figures out how to execute Plan A. An overjoyed Murph launches her calculations and kisses Getty. TARS informs Cooper that their plan worked as the supernatural beings start to close the dimension they're in. Cooper wakes up in a hospital room to see a warped world where the doctor informs him that they're in Cooper Station near Saturn. Cooper enters a room to see his descendants and an old Murph. She's overjoyed to see that her father has come back. She asks him to leave and look for Amelia. Cooper and TARS enter a futuristic spaceship to find Amelia. Amelia just landed on Edmund's planet due to time relativity, probably thinking that she's humanity's last hope, not knowing Cooper is coming to find her. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing to see fantastic content regularly. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you in the next video.